Check out Paddy's Rewards Club. Place 5 bets of £10 or more across any sport in a week and get a £10 free bet the next week. Paddy Power, you beauty! Max £10 bonus per person per week. Excludes shop bets. Selected odds. Conditions and exclusions apply. 18 plus. BeGambleAware.org.
Hello and welcome along to the Racing Post Football Postcast. I'm Dave Clark, joined by colleagues Mark Langdon and Henry Hardwick here in the studio. On the line we also have, from our friends and sponsors, Paddy Power, Adrian Croak. Adrian's on the line also. We're going to have a quick look back on the festive period matches, the ones that we've just seen over Boxing Day, etc. Mark Langdon, I'll throw to you first. Who caught the eye?
I think probably in terms of the Championship, Millwall. Playing against Wolves and putting up a really good effort. Stopping them from winning, and it's something that they've done a lot this season. Millwall, I think it goes to show it's very risky to back the big teams at short prices at the Den. It's a difficult venue for opposing teams to go, even if they've got more quality than Millwall. I mean, we've seen some of the bigger sides. Sheffield United. I was at the Den when they lost. Norwich were tonked 4. Wolves have not won. Middlesbrough turned over as well. So I think in the second half of the season, there's still a couple of the big guys to go there. I mean, I wouldn't be taking, the shorter prizes. Player for player, yes, a lot of them teams are better than Millwall, but when they put it together in front of that crowd, it's a really difficult place to go.
Henry, anyone catch that or disappoint you?
Well, you have to say Manchester United look the biggest disappointments. I mean, obviously the 2-2 against Burnley and the 2-2 against Leicester. I mean, Jose Mourinho's come out and said, he hasn't had the money to spend or whatever, but, they have spent an absolute fortune. And then before that, they lost to Bristol City in the Cup and they were pretty unconvincing against West Brom 2-1. So, yeah, I'd say United are the biggest disappointments. Just following from Mark's Millwall point, Millwall got QPR on Friday night and I was at the QPR game, the reverse fixture at Loftus Road, and QPR got a late equaliser. And
it was when Holloway was
Holloway, I mean, he done more laps than Mo Farah. You never seen anything like it, right? And that's Millwall, as you know, not the type of club to forget that. QPR got quite a few players missing for that game on Friday, so especially at the back. So Scowen suspended as well. So I think Millwall look, not to get bet out straight away, but Millwall one of my best bets. Shame it's on a Friday. It was going to be my best bet on a Saturday, but it's on the Friday. But
the crowd never forget down at the Den. Adrian, I'm sure over this sort of period, the punters are looking to get the Christmas money or play it up afterwards. How did they fare?
Well, with United, they kind of done them there on Stevens or on Boxing Day. Other than that, we would have had all the fabs kind of clear from Boxing Day, but United kind of done us a favour there and saved any money from running on to Liverpool later on, or even Man City last night.
Anyone catch the eye for yourself?
I don't think anyone really caught the eye in the Premier League. It was all kind of a bit so-so. Man City didn't do anything you didn't expect them to. I mean, I didn't really finish watching the game against Newcastle last night. They went 1-up, and I mean, they still trying, but they didn't have to. Newcastle weren't coming at them trying to counter-attack, so they just took a 1-0 easy win. No one really caught the eye over the Christmas period.
I think from a negative point of view, I mean, Southampton's performance at Wembley against Tottenham, I mean, that's got to be...
Just turned it in,
I mean, yeah, they did turn it in, yeah. I mean, if ever a team sort of, playing to get the manager sacked or whatever, I mean, that is how you play if you're kind of showing the board owners or whatever that, that the manager's not the man for the job. I mean, they were absolutely horrendous. Some of the goals they conceded were just a joke, really. They didn't put any pressure on Tottenham's sort of silky players, offered next to nothing up front until the game was already over, and even then it was, goalkeeping error really that allowed them to score one of their goals at least. So, I mean, I thought that was a really worrying performance from a team that, not many people are talking about in terms of relegation battles, but if you carry on playing like that for too much longer, they'll definitely be involved in the in the shake-up for the bottom three. I mean, talent-wise, they don't deserve to be, I don't think, down the bottom. But if the application's not there, then you can be in serious trouble. And okay, they've got a lot of money now coming in from Van Dijk, but he's still their best defender. So they've got to spend that money wisely, or maybe make a managerial change, because they put in a hopeless performance.
Yeah, certainly a side to be against. They're one of our live games that we'll talk about a little bit later on. First up, though, Palace Arsenal Thursday night tonight, 8 p.m. kick-off. Adrian, you going to enlighten us with the Paddy Power show for that one?
So currently we've got Crystal Palace here at 10-3. The draw is 3-1, and Arsenal at 3-4.
And how do you see it?
Looks about right to me. Arsenal were absolutely dismal against Liverpool the last night, and only for a 10-minute period they should have got absolutely battered. But away from home, Palace will probably be looking at this as a gimme game. You know, if they get a result, they'll do well. But I think Palace might actually be able to make a draw against Arsenal. If they don't play anywhere near what they're able to, Palace could probably take a draw here.
Henry, your beloved Gooners.
Yeah, I do say I think they look on the short side, Dave. But the way to go into it for me is under 2.5 goals. I mean, you see Arsenal against West Ham last time away from home in the Premier League. They struggled to break them down. Prior to that, they struggled against Southampton in a 1-1 draw. And before that, they needed a last-minute penalty against Burnley to beat them 1-0. Only in 2 of their 12 away games this season have Arsenal scored more than 1 goal. And yeah, I just think that attacking-wise, obviously Giroud's out now. You can't really say Lacazette's done anything, more than okay. Sanchez has been well off the ball, and they just don't look that, as potent going forward. Palace have got the players to cause Arsenal problems in Loftus-Cheek, Zaha, Townsend, Benteke's back. There are players that can cause Arsenal problems there, but and Palace have improved in recent weeks, but they've only scored 8 goals in the last 6 games, and I just think this is going to be quite tight. I mean, Arsenal are not, they've got quite a tough run of fixtures coming up, a lot of fixtures in a short space of time, including the cup games. So yeah, I think this is going to be a low-scoring affair.
You're worrying stat that one for Arsenal on the road, Mark?
Yeah, I mean, they've only won twice, haven't they? I think they are definitely too short. I mean, they're going off about the same price against West Brom on the Sunday and Crystal Palace on the Thursday. I mean, I'd rather back them, the 3-4 against West Brom than I would what I consider to be a very much improving Crystal Palace team. I mean, they've only got 1 defeat in their last 10. Palace, that was really unlucky. They deserved something at Wembley against Tottenham. They played really well that day. Zaha missed an unbelievable opportunity, but with those players that Henry mentioned, Zaha and Townsend, Loftus-Cheek, Benteke, they have got, I think the options up front to cause Arsenal many problems. Arsenal were absolutely humiliated at Selhurst Park last year. It was the game that actually made him turn to a back 3, wasn't it? After that game, because they were absolutely thrashed, and I can't back Arsenal at that price against. I think a Palace team that if the season started now, you'd be putting them somewhere in mid-table. I think. I mean, on expected goals, they're a mid-table team. They just had a disastrous start. They've recovered well. I think this is a harder game than, say, even like the West Ham one, but they struggled in, the Southampton one, which they struggled in. I just couldn't back Arsenal. So I'd be going on for Crystal Palace and the draw double chance.
What price is that, Adrian?
Crystal Palace in the draw and the double chance here. We have even money.
Even money. Fair enough. And Henry on the unders there. Right, competition time. There isn't a competition this week, but I can tell you that last week's winner was Henry from Berkshire, and that competition will be back, not you, Henry, will be back next Thursday. Right, stay with us. We'll go for a quick break and tackle Saturday's games.
Check out Paddy's Rewards Club. Place 5 bets of £10 or more across any sport in a week and get a £10 free bet the next week. Paddy Power, you beauty! Max £10 bonus per person per week. Excludes shop bets. Selected odds. Conditions and exclusions apply. 18 plus. BeGambleAware.org.
Welcome back to the Racing Post Football Postcast. Right, quick fire stuff now. We're going to fly through Saturday's games. Quick line from each of the lads and a tip on that game. Mark, we'll start with you. Bournemouth at home to Everton.
Yeah, I'm going to go for Bournemouth. Everton, 3 shots on target in their last 2 matches. I wonder as well whether they have one eye on the Merseyside derby coming up in the FA Cup. Bournemouth got goals in them. Don't think Everton have.
Henry?
Yeah, Bournemouth as well. I mean, both sides have got quite a few injuries at the moment, but you've seen the way Everton have set up. There's only going to be one team that's going to retire on this match, and I'll go with Bournemouth.
Adrian, some love for Bournemouth in the studio. What about yourself?
I'm in agreement with the lads. You've got Bournemouth here at 7-5, and it looks a decent price for me at home to Everton.
Okay, good stuff. Chelsea Stoke, Mark.
I've gone for Chelsea to win to 0. 4 of their last 5 at home in the Premier League have been 1-0. I think Stoke are a really poor team. They pick up their results sort of when they really need to, like they did against West Brom at home, got a 1-1 against Huddersfield. I think they'll be outclassed by Chelsea.
Over 2.5 for me. Stoke without Martins, Indies, Peters, Zuma at the back, and Shawcross is a doubt. And that's the one, sort of position where you think they might be quite solid, but I don't see that happening. And over 2.5 goals for me.
Okay, Adrian, give us a show for that game and your views as well.
So we've got Chelsea here at 1-6. The draw is 13-2, and Stoke here at 19-1. Yeah, I'd be in agreement. Stoke going to pick up their points where they can, but they're struggling. Mark Hughes is favourite for the chop at the moment in the ex-manager goal market. So I'll be fancying Chelsea here at win to nil as well. Here you're getting 5-6 for Chelsea at win to nil.
Yeah, big trouble. Stoke. Right, let's move on to Huddersfield, Burnley, Mark.
Yeah, I've gone for a draw in this game. I think it kind of suits both teams, really. Keeps them going where they need to. Looks very similar to me to the game that Burnley drew 0-0 with against Brighton, a fellow newly promoted club, a couple of weeks ago.
Narrow vote for Huddersfield for me. Obviously Burnley have done really well this season, but I just think they've had a couple of tough games recently against Spurs, United, and perhaps, Huddersfield's high-tempo game might sort of catch them out there.
Adrian, for you, can Sean Dyche continue with his magic?
Yeah, he's actually kind of turned around from last year where he had a fantastic home record. This year it's the away form, so I'm going to take Burnley here, where you can take him at 12-5 at the moment.
Good stuff.
All
Liverpool,
three outcomes
Leicester,
covered in that one. Liverpool, Leicester, I've gone for Liverpool to win and both teams to score. Obviously, Liverpool rampant going forward. Do wonder whether Klopp, he rotated a couple of times when you maybe not expected him to. Hopefully, most of the Fab Four are in action. But Leicester have scored in 13 of their last 15 matches and 9 of 11 away games in all competitions. Vardy, Mahrez, got the players to maybe cause Liverpool 1 or 2 problems, but I love Liverpool going forward.
Certainly goals in that Liverpool game, Henry.
Yeah, exactly the same for me. Liverpool and BTS. It's not hard to see Leicester trying to catch Liverpool in a break, and they probably will. But by the same thing, Liverpool will probably score 2 or 3 goals, 4 goals maybe. So yeah, same as Mark with it.
A goal fest, Adrian. A goal fest for you?
I'm actually going for Liverpool to win, but to win to nil on this one. They've only conceded 3 goals at home all season. It's been away from home where they've been leaking like a sieve, really. So you can take the win to nil here at 7.5 for Liverpool.
Lovely stuff. Right up north, Newcastle against Brighton. Long journey for Brighton, Mark. How do you see that one?
Yeah, I mean, these two teams obviously came up from the Championship. Wasn't that much between them last season. Don't think there's a huge amount between them this season. There wasn't much between them when they played in a live Sky game earlier on in the campaign when Brighton just nicked it. I was looking here at the no in the both teams to score market. I think if one team does get in front, I'm not sure the other one has got the capabilities to get back into the game.
Brighton draw no bet for me. I know Newcastle took a lot of criticism for their approach against City. Could have nicked a draw in the end, really. And they played okay, but this is a totally different test for them. They're going to be looking to break a side down, and I don't really see that they've got the players to do that. And Brighton have only lost 5 of the last 13 Premier League matches, which is not bad for a side that's come up from the Championship.
Interesting. Adrian, for you in that one?
Yeah, Newcastle here last year would have went off odds on in the Championship. I wasn't always in agreement with that, but 11-10 here, and again, they probably need to win these kind of games. That your home games against teams that come up, you have to win. So I'll be back in Newcastle here.
Newcastle for Adrian. Right, Watford, Swansea, the final 3 p.m. kickoff.
Yeah, I mean, Watford. He went with no striker against Leicester, but they got the job done in that victory. I mean, this is more an anti-Swansea selection. Boney's obviously still doubtful. I mean, there's just nothing up front for Swansea at all. Even if Tammy Abraham does play, he doesn't get any service. They're desperate need of a manager. I mean, Leon Britton, I don't think, is the answer. Watford, probably right time, right place for them to get maximum points.
Henry, 2 sides I can never get right, can you?
I think Watford 8-11 looks a cracking bet to me. Well, they've had a bit tricky run recently, Watford, but that's mainly been due to injuries. Their main man, Doucouré's back in midfield. And as Mark said, all the problems going on at Swansea, I think Watford look a really, really solid bet there.
Right, 2 lads massively against Swansea. Adrian, what's the prices for that one and how do you see it?
So here we've got Watford at 4-6. The draw is 11-4, and Swansea are 9-2. I'm just anti-Swansea really. They're so bad. I can't see how Watford don't win this. Easy one to probably pick is again Watford to win the nil. I mean, I can't see where a goal will come out of that Swansea side at the moment. So you can get Watford to nil at 8-5 here.
Anti-Swansea. I have to get that hashtag going. Right, let's move on to the live game. It's 5:30. Man United beat Southampton. Right, I'll stick with you, Adrian. Can you give us a show for that one, please?
So I've got Man United here at 1-3. The draw is 4-1, and Southampton are currently 17-2.
And once we've had it off on the 3 p.m. kickoffs, where do we place our money in that one, Adrian?
I think this is a fortunate game for Man United the time it's came. Southampton were so poor against Spurs. As Mark said earlier, they just gave up, really. They want their manager to get sacked by the looks of it. United have been absolutely dreadful, but they should have enough here to win this game if Southampton perform like they did at the weekend. Really, have to be looking at United here.
Interesting what Adrian said. They're good timing.
Yeah, I mean, it is.
United,
I mean, I was thinking I wanted to take on Manchester United, but the more I looked at this game, the more obvious it sort of looked. It was, it probably is a home banker. I was just looking at the half-time, full-time Manchester United because, if Southampton are in the same mindset that they went to Wembley with, they haven't got, I don't think, the capabilities to hold out for too long. I mean, because they just defended so poorly. Now, against that, they did defend quite well against Manchester City and at Chelsea, but you do wonder if something's gone on there to put in that kind of performance. They've got a couple of injuries as well in the fullback positions. I don't know, it's really difficult at this stage of the season to get, injury status updates, but Bertrand and Cedric have both been out for Southampton in them fullback areas. And United, for all that they were terrible against Burnley, I mean, they did only concede 3 attempts in the whole game. I mean, that's not 3 shots on target, that's 3 attempts from Burnley. It just so happened that 2 of them went on target. Defoe scored an absolute stunning free kick. I just wonder whether there'll be a mini reaction. I think Mourinho got his team all wrong against Burnley. I don't think the 2 up front, Ibrahimovic and Lukaku, is something that they should be starting with. I think it's something you maybe do 10 minutes to go if you're chasing. I expect United to go back to something, like what their normal formation would be, with a team and a squad that can be rotated. And you look at Southampton, that squad can't be rotated because it looks quite thin. So United, half-time, full-time for me.
I did see a stat when Harry Kane scored his 50 goals that he scored them in the space of time that Shane Long scored his last goal back in February. So it'd probably be leading the line.
Yeah, well, I mean, obviously Charlie Austin is injured and suspended. He doesn't seem to fancy Gabbiadini. And you just mentioned there about Long's goal-scoring woes. So, I mean, where is the attacking, where's the counter-attacking sort of punch coming from? It's a Buffal or a Tadic who doesn't seem to fancy either. So, I think Southampton are in a world of pain at the moment. Unlike them, they've been a well-run club last few years.
Henry, how'd you say it? A world of pain for Southampton again?
Yeah, I think United to win to nil's the play. I mean, obviously, they had a bit of criticism recently. And I think when that comes into Mourinho's teams, he does cause a reaction, but it's not a type of reaction to go and blast a team away 5-6-0 or 5-6-2, whatever. It's more into his shell. He'll set them up to just keep it tight. 7 of 8 of United home league matches have been won without conceding. Southampton have only scored 7 goals in the last 7 Premier League matches. Austin got 3 of those. Obviously, he's missing. They're really toothless up front. They haven't got much pace to counter-attack United. And I just think it's going to be a comfortable, United go 1-0 up early, 2-0 up, and they just cruise through the rest of the game without conceding.
Indeed. Right, that's the Saturday games tackled, but let's get the lads' best bets.
This will not be beaten.
Right, I'll get Henry's and Mark's, and then Adrian's as well, and he can give us the price on the treble. I'll let you kick us off, Henry.
Mine's Middlesbrough at home to Aston Villa. Obviously, Tony Pulis has been announced as manager. That's bound to perk them up. That aside, they've still got quality players going forward in, Rudy Dickhead, Patrick Bamford, Stuart Downing. Britt Assanbalonga's back from injury and firing. And Villa, for all they've got a lot of experience and quality, they really are a pedestrian side. You look at the back, they've got Chester and Elvick very slow. In midfield, it's Jedinak wheeling in front of them. Snodgrass and Grealish are their attacking forces. Again, very pedestrian, no pace, no legs. The one player that does give them a little bit of spark, Doma, went off injured against Brentford in midweek. I just think Borough running ragged and they're a really solid bet at home to me.
Yeah, I like that one.
I'm going to go for in Italy. They're playing over the Christmas period, but I'm not expecting anything different from Juventus. They're away at Verona, 5-6 with Paddy Power to win to 0. Juve have kept 8 straight clean sheets, and that comes in matches against Roma, Napoli, Inter, Barcelona as well in the Champions League. Sooner or later, the run of clean sheets will end. I'm just not sure Verona have got it in them to break this absolutely hot streak at the moment. And then, of course, with Higuain, Dybala, Douglas Costa, Mandzukic and various others, that there's enough in the Juve ranks to get the win as well.
So to win to 0.
Yeah.
Juventus to win to 0. Henry keen on Middlesbrough. Adrian, for you to complete our treble?
I'm going to go with Bournemouth here, just at home to Everton. As I said earlier, it just looks a little too big for me here. It's a game Bournemouth really have to win, and they will try and win it, whereas Everton will probably be settling for a draw. But I think Bournemouth have enough to nick one here.
And what does that treble pay?
So the treble at the moment plays a total of, it was Juventus win to 0, was it?
Yeah, 5-6. Yeah.
Yeah, so the treble at the moment is just sort of 10-1.
10-1. Lovely. Excellent. Right, January sales. Get your money there. Right, we'll go for a quick ad break, and then we've got New Year's Eve games.
Check out Paddy's Rewards Club. Place 5 bets of £10 or more across any sport in a week and get a £10 free bet the next week. Paddy Power, you beauty! Max £10 bonus per person per week. Excludes shop bets. Selected odds. Conditions and exclusions apply. 18+. BeGambleAware.org.
Welcome along to the Racing Post Football Postcast. We're tackling the New Year's Eve fixtures on Sunday evening. Adrian Croak from Paddy Power joins us on the line. I'm Dave Clark. We've also got Mark Langdon and Henry Hardwick from the Racing Post. First up, New Year's Eve, Crystal Palace. Almost impossible task of facing Manchester City midday. That one, Adrian. What are the prices and how many will Manchester City win by?
Yeah, so currently Palace here are 9-1, the draw is 92, and City are 1-4. At some stage City have been going off too short a price, but I don't know when I'd be risking laying them. They've just been absolutely phenomenal. They did only score once against Newcastle last night, but that was more Newcastle style of play. I'd expect Palace to try and get back into the game if they do concede. So probably a 2 or 3-0 win to Man City here.
Okay, interesting. Mark, as big a fan as I am of Palace at the moment, I do think they're doing some good stuff. Or playing some good stuff, surely they're not going to be able to hold off the citizens.
And the problem they've got is, of course, they're playing on the Thursday. We're speaking before the game against Arsenal, and I'm assuming London derby, big game, more chance of winning. They're going to put a lot into that encounter,
leave a bit on the
and
pitch,
then to come straight back out, for a noon kick-off on Sunday is going to be difficult, I think, for Roy Hodgson's side. I mean, Hodgson is somebody throughout the years who's been noted as a coach that can get a team to defend, very well and organised and frustrate.
They're going to need to.
And they will need to. But that kind of pattern of play, boring kind of training ground regime is what he's become famous or infamous, for, depending on your view on it. I was looking here. I was looking at Man City to win by 1 goal in the winning margin. I mean, 6 of their last 9 wins have been by exactly 1 goal, and even away from home, Huddersfield was 1 goal, West Brom was 1 goal, Bournemouth was 1 goal. A couple of them were earlier on in the campaign, but I mean, they seem happy, Pep Guardiola's team, to just manage the game situation. And if teams don't come out and attack them, if they do want to save face, they're sort of quite confident in that they can just keep the ball and run down the clock. And if they have to win 1-0, then so be it. So I mean, it's not a game that I'd be lumping on, that's for sure. But maybe Man City to win by 1 goal may be a way to go.
Yeah, what price is that, Adrian? Manchester City to win by
11-4 here for Man City to win by just 1 goal.
Seems a fair price. I mean, Henry, you tend to forget about the comfortable wins and remember the dismantling of sides that Guardiola's team are doing at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, it's a difficult one to weigh. Obviously, we're speaking before the Arsenal game, so Palace's approach could alter depending on the result in that one. But I like second half to be the highest scoring in this game. I mean, either way, regardless of the result that Palace against Arsenal, playing against Arsenal is going to take a lot out of Palace. They're asking to back up only a few days later. They've got a small squad. There's unlikely to be too much rotation in there. There's Hodgson's limited with his resources, so I just think maybe they'll tire towards the second half and City can come on. I mean, the one glimmer of hope you give to Palace is obviously Mendy and Stones are out and Company went off and Delph is possibly out. So, and for all that Newcastle didn't, do anything really against City. They did have a couple of chances to, nick a draw at the end. So, you could give it a little bit of help. But yeah, second half to be the highest scoring for me.
They're ruining the Premier League, aren't they, Man City? They've ruined the title race. Yeah. They're going off at 4s on in all these live matches. It's becoming sort of Barcelona, Real Madrid-esque, Bayern Munich. It's just the way it's going.
Just quickly, Adrian, what sort of specials have you got? Sort of goals totals, points totals? You got all that on the Paddy Power website?
At the moment, the most popular special we're probably laying is Man City to go unbeaten for the rest of the season. I remember before the last round of games, it was 10-3. I'll try and dig it out to see where it's still sitting, but it's definitely the most popular request from any customers coming on looking for a price is Man City unbeaten for the remainder of the season.
Is that a runner quickly, Mark? I'll go on.
Well,
It's a big ask.
It's a run. I just feel that you know, they're probably, it's not the number one target. Their number one target is going to be, you know, to sweep up as many trophies as possible. So, you know, if the league's done and dusted by March, for instance, or, you know, it's almost done and dusted now in December, you know, let's say they're in, you know, the League Cup final. Would Guardiola maybe rest a couple of players for a league game before that, or does he FA Cup quarter-final time? Does he start, you know, rotating in the Premier League, Champions League semi-finals? And I mean, you know, they've rode their luck a couple of times in terms of when he has made wholesale changes. You know, they've needed pens to beat Wolves and Leicester in the League Cup, so it's not a target, I don't think. I mean, if they get it, you know, well played to them, but I wouldn't be backing it at these sort of prices, no.
Well, the juice has gone, I'm sure. It was a big price at
It's
the
also
start of the season.
The motivation. If you've got like a massive Champions League two-legged affair, and then you've got a Premier League game in between, which you've already got the league sewn up. Regardless of what team he picks, you know, how motivated are those players going to be for that game?
And
they've got a big one.
the other, he didn't do it with Barcelona nor Bayern Munich. So, and his Bayern Munich team used to tail off quite a lot when they got the league won. So, you know, it's difficult, I think, the way he demands so much of the players. You know, I think that the easing off factor certainly would be a concern. You know, if you're on it at, you know, 40 to 1 or whatever, or 50 to 1, then, you know, you've got a lovely bet. I don't think you don't want to be betting it at 3 to 1, 100 to 30 or anything like that. I don't think there's, you know, there's got to be better ways to get with City, I would have thought.
Indeed. Adrian, did you dig that price out?
Yeah, it's still 10 to 3 here.
Okay.
It hasn't shortened up.
I think neither Mark or Henry will be steaming in anyway, so that price will last. Right, let's move on then. It's the Baggies and the Gooners, 4:30 New Year's Eve. Adrian, can you give us a Paddy Power show for that one and your own views?
Yeah, so we've got West Brom here 4 to 1. The draw is 14 to 5, and Arsenal is 4 to 6. I'll be keeping Arsenal out of my weekend access here. If I'm taking that, and I'm probably going to take a small kind of throwaway on West Brom at 4 to 1. They could nick an Arsenal side. It's of course pretty dependent on how Arsenal perform tonight and see how they do. But at the moment, 4 to 6 seems a bit short.
Well, I mean, I'd rather back them at the Hawthorns than Selhurst Park.
Yeah.
I'm hoping, if all goes to plan, Arsenal get turned over at Selhurst Park, drift a little bit for the game at West Brom, and then I'd be looking to back them. I mean, West Brom, I mean, they're winless since August. It's a long old time to go without a success. I mean, they had most of the game against Everton, and there was a bit of money for them to beat Everton. I don't know if that was more negativity towards the Toffees, really. There's been no kind of managerial bounce for Alan Pardew. He's had his run-ins with Arsene Wenger down the years. I'm sure he'll be looking to upset Arsenal, but I think I'd rather back Arsenal. Not an easy game to call before this Crystal Palace game for Arsenal, but I think if the Arsenal price holds up or they drift a little bit, I think I'd rather back them than West Brom. So I'll go for a tentative away win.
I don't really see they've got anything up front to cause Arsenal problems. Chadley's definitely out, and Rondon went off against Everton. So, you know, perhaps the only two real threats they've got there are going to be missing. Then you're looking at likes of Robson Kanu, you know, Jay Rodriguez. You know, I can see, you know, where the West Brom angle, set pieces and stuff cause Arsenal problems, but I just really think they're lacking that quality.
It's almost like they need to parachute Tony Pulis back in for one game. He quite like playing Arsenal at home, doesn't he?
Yeah.
So maybe it's the one game they needed TP back in.
Yeah.
I quite like that anyway. We'll have a look. I'll keep an eye on the Palace Arsenal game and then maybe hope for an Arsenal drift there. Right, thank the lads in the studio for their pearls of betting wisdom, and also Adrian Croak on the line from our friends at Paddy Power. If you do enjoy these postcasts, make sure you do rate, review and subscribe on iTunes, and we wish you a Happy New Year.
Check out Paddy's Rewards Club. Place 5 bets of £10 or more across any sport in a week and get a £10 free bet the next week. Paddy Power, you beauty! Max £10 bonus per person per week. Excludes shop bets. Selected odds. Conditions and exclusions apply. 18+. BeGambleAware.org.